Hi everyone, my name is Dare. I live and work in Hollywood. I am a filmmaker, visual effects artist, animator, writer, and jack of all media trades because you kind of have to be to survive in this world in the independent level. And this is the next tutorial, and I wanted to kind of show you, some of the techniques I use to make a not boring time-lapse video. I know this is my first tutorial post in a long time, but life sort of got interrupted a year ago by a lot of different things that happened, which I talked about in my blog post. And one of the things I did to sort of get over, or get past some of the rough things I was facing in life is I just went ahead and did a bunch of carpentry on the weekends for my kids and my wife to build a nice area in the back. And, just for the fun of it, I sort of filmed this as a time-lapse video so that I could share it afterwards. And I just wanted to quickly show you a few of the things I did to sort of make this a bit more interesting than usual. It's really a simple video overall. I captured all of this time-lapse footage just using my daughter's iPod, actually, in between her playing games on it. And to that, I did a lot of time remapping and a lot of little effects and shifts and stuff like that. So I just wanted to quickly show you how I went about doing this. So as you can see in the background here, there is me working really fast on this. And while this is time-lapse footage, actually when I'm going to go ahead and open up some of the time-lapse footage, and I'm going to go ahead and create a new sequence from the clip, which just basically is going to match the properties of this clip, which is full HD and 24 frames per second. And I'll just go ahead and call this tutorial video because why not? Now, if you actually were to dump all of this material, which isn't even everything that I have on there, but if you were to dump it all on here, it actually comes out to 15 minutes for just the time lapse and not the material. Yet the finished video is about 5 minutes long. So what I had to do for a lot of this, other than arranging all the clips, because right now these are just randomly shuffled into whatever sequence that they were in. Let's go ahead and delete that, and I'm going to go ahead and find the first clip that's of time-lapse footage. I'm going to go ahead and reveal this in the project, and I'm just trying to show you just a few things that I do to sort of help me in the editing process. And whenever I find a clip, whenever I have a clip in the timeline but I don't know where it is, this is a really handy way to find it again. You can either reveal it in the project or you can reveal it in the Finder just by selecting either of those. Okay, so now let's go ahead. I'm going to zoom in on this, and right now this clip is actually about 14 seconds long. It's actually exactly, if you look here, you can see it's exactly 12 seconds and 22 frames long. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and hit R, which pulls up the rate stretch tool. Now, using this, I can go ahead and drag this in, and what this is going to do is it's going to accelerate the clip. So now I have the same amount of start and end information, but it's being told in less than a third of the time. So obviously what's going to happen when you do that is it's going to cut out frames, but still you get the idea of what's happening here. I'm not losing any crucial piece of information. It's just telling it faster. Now I'm going to go ahead and undo that because I want to show you another way to do this, and that is you can right click on it and you can choose speed duration. And here you can either plug in the speed that you want, or you can go ahead and you can select this, and let's say we know we want it to be 4 seconds long. You can just say 0400. And I completely messed that up. Let's try that again. I think because I did not do the colon in there. So 00, and it made it 400 frames instead of 4 seconds. So there you go. So that's now shortened to 4 seconds long. And I did a lot a lot of time remapping on these clips to make them fit within the song length. And this is another thing that I wanted to mention here, which is whenever I'm doing a video, like a corporate video or anything that I know is going to have music set to it, I pretty much always try to find the music first and edit to that. And I can tell you I originally actually cut this video to the Ex-Ambassador song Renegades, but YouTube made it very clear that I would not be getting the copyright allowances for that. So again, I just quickly rate stretch that so it's quicker. And that's now these two clips. Okay, so that's the vast majority of what I did on the edit. But if you look through this, you will also see that there's a bunch of transitions here that go like this. Swish. Swish. Okay, and this is an interesting thing that you can do with transitions, which is you can actually change the timing on them. I'm going to go ahead and place that here. Now obviously to do a transition you have to have spare room at the beginning and end of at the head and tail of the clips that are being joined. But so right now we've got that transition, and if I select this I can actually change the timing on the transition to make it slower or faster by how I'm doing this. Now this particular transition is actually a pre-made transition from, well, obviously they're all pre-made, but this is a purchase transition from a company that makes them. They're called Impact Transitions, and they're really cool. I highly recommend them just because there's a lot of fun types of options that they give you, and they can be found after you install them, or all the transitions can be found over here, like 3D motion. Okay, let's say I wanted to do a cube spin on that. Zoop. That's another way I could have done it if I didn't want to pay for an actual transition, but I use those other transitions in a lot of my other video editing work. But there you go, there's a flip. And you know, the classic of course is the cross dissolve, which you can just insert by doing Command D. But I did not like how the dissolves looked on the video. What I did like was I liked the energy that I got from using these transitions to help move it from one scene to the next. I just felt it added to the flow to that. Okay, and the other thing that I wanted to show you on this is, you know, if you've watched the whole video the whole way through, you'll see that there are some clips here which are moving and rotating, you know, as the time lapse is going. And it's a pretty good cheat because it kind of makes it look like you had sort of a motion control rig, and I did not have a motion control rig. But what I did have is I had Premiere's Effect Controls panel, and let me show you how this works. So I'm going to go ahead and reveal that clip there, and I'm going to drop that here in the timeline. I'm going to shorten it on both sides so that I can go ahead and add in a transition. So I'm going to go ahead and use that one again. Check the speed. Okay, that's way too slow, so I'm going to speed that up. There we go. Now, unfortunately, I did not have a tripod, so I was kind of grabbing rocks and wood and whatever I could set this on, and sometimes it would move while I was in the course of building stuff. So as you can see, this is not level. So if I go here to Effect Controls and I select this clip, I can go ahead and choose these different settings here. Like rotation, I wanted to get it, you know, a little bit more level, but I didn't want to crop in on it from the start. So what I did is I put a scale and rotation keyframe. Now what is a keyframe? A keyframe is just a little blip or a little indicator that is placed on settings that tell the computer when to start, change, or stop different things. Right now it's telling the computer that at this point in the clip the scale is 100% and the rotation is 0. Now by the time we hit the end of the clip, I can tell it that I want it to be scaled in at 110%, but I also want the rotation to be about 4. Now let's have a look and see what happens now. So it's now pushing in, and because I'm scaling it at the same time, we're not seeing the black edges, but as you can see, they're just creeping in here at the top and bottom. And let me go ahead and fit that in so maybe you can see it a bit better. It's right there at the top and the bottom. Annoying. Okay, so I know that I need to adjust my scale slightly. Let's see, 112. Now let's see how that works. Okay, I think there's a minuscule amount of black happening here at the corners, but you know what? No one is ever going to notice that. Well, except that I just pointed it out to you. So that is another thing that I did to sort of make this not so boring, because while the time lapse is cool, you know, you can only look at so much time lapse before it's just, you know, you get the point. And I kind of wanted to avoid time lapse burnout by adding motion here and there, just to sort of, you know, keep it spiced up as the video progressed. And this is just some live action footage that I put in there. Nothing particularly special there. And believe it or not, that's pretty much it. All I did was retime the footage, change the length of the clips, and added that subtle bit of motion to it. And I think you'll find that just doing those subtle things helped make it more than just a boring time-lapse video. It really sort of helped, I don't know, help tell a story and make it a bit more visually exciting. Now at the end of the video, I wanted to show the comparisons of the before and after using photos. So again, I'm using impact transitions, and I've put scale on these photos, and I'm moving through them really quickly. And I realized that this is moving along fast, but it's actually really simple. And let me show you how to do that in case you want to do your own slideshow type videos with this. So I am going to go ahead and I'm going to grab some photos. And these aren't really going to be in any particular sequence, but let's see here. I'm going to, by double clicking these, I can pull them up in the frame. So we'll find this one, we'll drop this down here, and I know I have a before photo somewhere in here. There it is. And I didn't really name these excellently. I just exported them from Lightroom and threw them in there because that tends to be how I work in the editing program. It's a little sloppy, but I get it done fast. Now, when you drop photos in, there's a couple things I want to show you on this. And one is that they're going to drop in their native resolution, and it's almost always going to be larger than the timeline. So you can either go up here to Effect Controls, and you can manually scale that down, or you can go ahead and right-click and scale that to the frame size, and it will go ahead and fit the first edge inside the frame. And we now have these two scaled. And the other thing that's going to happen when you drop them in is right now this is going to be 3 seconds long. Now if you're dropping in tons of photos and you know you want them to be a certain length of time, you can go up here into Preferences and you can go into General and Still Image Default Duration, and you can choose here actually how long you want it to be when you drop still images onto the timeline. Now that's a cool little tip there, because when you're doing slideshows and you're working with dozens of photos, it's way easier just to set it to the length here, drag them on the timeline, drop them, than to do that and have to manually stretch back every photo to the length that you want it. Okay, so that's the first two photos, and let's just find one more just because why not? No. Well, okay, let's take this as the first in the sequence. Okay, I'm just double clicking through these. And sometimes when you open a lot of images or video clips here in the source monitor, it can suddenly start to slow down or not respond. And what you want to do here is you just go here and you click close all, and you'll find it starts moving fast again. And, you know, that's one of those things that you kind of learn the hard way, I have found. And let's see here, 1, 2, 3, and then I think I have, and then let's find one more photo. No. Okay, it's going to be in here. And also, if you look up here and you have like super bionic vision, you can actually see small frames, small thumbnails that show you what's in there. And it's odd to me that they don't have a way to make that larger, but there you go. I guess the people at Adobe have bionic vision. Or I just haven't learned how to do it, and I'm making a fool out of myself right now. Either way, I'm cool with it. Okay, so here we go. We've got all these stills. Now, so let's walk through. Let's play through this here real quick. Okay, this is really long. It just feels really long. So you can either grab this and resize it, retime it using that, or you can go ahead and choose B. And what this is going to do is it's actually going to move all the other clips in the timeline so that you don't have to, you don't have to take this, move this over, and then delete that to move it over. That's just a handy little dandy way to do that. So we've got this clip now, and let's see. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and select these, and I'm going to say scale to frame size. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put a impact. Where are you? Impact wipe, and this is the one I'm using. And again, this is paid, but if you do a lot of editing work and stuff, you definitely want to get these packs. They're not too expensive, and they're really good for spicing up your videos. And we'll go ahead and put an impact push in here, and way too slow, so I'm going to retime that. One thing I want to show you real quick is if you have a lot of clips and you just want to put a cross dissolve transition in there, you can select them all and hit Command D, and it will automatically add that transition to them. But because I am using this particular transition, I'm going to go ahead and just hover over the edit point between them, and I'm just hitting Command V to paste in that transition. So now we've got all these moving along, but as you can see, it's static. It feels boring, and even though it's it's kind of cool, it's still boring. So one way to deal with that, as I showed you, is to add some scale effects. And I'm just going to go ahead and put 110 on that. I'm setting a keyframe at the start and the end. I'm going to select the next one, and again, I'm going to add a keyframe at the start and the end. And I'm just choosing 110 to, move it up 10%. That's a pretty good scale. If it goes too fast or too slow, it's going to look a bit weird. But I would definitely rather be going too slow than too fast. Here, I'll show you what it looks like when you have something scaling up too fast, and you'll understand what I mean by that. Okay, I'm going to set this to 150. Okay. Moving on. Okay, and this one, this last one, I will do a slower scale on. And because it's already longer, the scale is going to be slower anyways. So, all right, so I'm going to play these back now so you can see what it looks like. I hit the space bar. Okay, you see how fast that went? It just feels weird. But there are places where you may want it like that. But for me, I much rather have just a nice gradual push in, unless I'm trying to really do a zoom in on something. And, you know, for a transition, I might instead want to do, you know, my impact zoom blur. Zoom. You know, that's kind of cool. So, you know, we could get rid of that, and we could put that in. And by the way, I don't get any sponsorship from Impact Transitions. I'm just, you know, I happen to love them. So now let's have a look. Okay, it's going through. It's going whoom, whoom, whoom. And the sound effects are free, by the way. I don't have those copyrighted. And that's pretty cool. Now watch what happens when we throw some music on there too. And suddenly you'll see that, you know, we've got starting to feel like something. Okay. So let's go ahead and move that over there. Put that there. Okay, and I just randomly okay, did you see something there? Okay, because I changed the timing on this and I added a transition, you can see that the scale is not starting quite in the right place. It sort of starts there. So if you click back on this, you'll see that the keyframe has shifted. You just need to move that again, and then now you'll see that the scale goes all the way through. Cool. All right, well, there you go. That is some tips and tricks and some of the techniques I use to make this not, well, hopefully not a boring time-lapse video. And I will be doing video tutorials much more regularly now that I am getting back into the swing of things. And as always, thank you for watching, and I will catch you next time.